Yo guys, and welcome on in. Today I want to do an update to the must pull list that I did before. I think I had top 7 must pull. Let's update this because it's been a good while, and hopefully this will help a lot of players. So I got a tier list here, and I'm going to kind of throw in the units I think are must pull. I'll cover the ones that sort of fell off from the previous list, and I will go through some honorable mentions and then cover the updated Selective Summon, my picks for that. Keep in mind, guys, in the current state of the game, even though I call it must pull, the nice thing about E7 right now is none of these units are truly must pull. You can mix and match. You can replace units that used to be must-haves. And so really, this is more so a guide to see for new players what to look out for on the banners and something like you won't regret pulling or spending your hard-earned bookmarks for, okay? Especially as free-to-play and stuff like that. So let's get on to it. First up in the must-pull list, I have Kron. Now, Kron actually moves up. Last time I think I had him in honorable mentions. He's one that's highly debated. I made this list previously with my stream, maybe a week ago, to get this ready for y'all. Kron, I think, should still be a must-pull, as close as one can be for summons, because new players will get a lot of value out of Kron if they don't have access to the other powerful thieves. He can be your farmer, he'll carry you in arenas, guild wars, RTA. He's good in all areas of the game. He's very easy to use. I will say the hardest thing about him though for new players would probably be having a 2-piece immunity set for farming and for PvP. But now with conquest gear and early raid access, you can make a 2-piece immunity work and then throw like a destruction or attack set, speed set 4-piece on him as well. I think he just fills a lot of gaps that a new player account will have. You can use him everywhere, and yeah, I think he's in a great spot at the moment for newer players. I will say though, in the endgame RTA especially, he is falling off a little bit. Kron's always kind of shifted back into and out of the meta, just because the nature of his kit and as well as him being a fire type. He's currently seeing a little bit less play compared to like last season, but I expect him to bounce back, and he's just always a solid unit. So, number 1 on the must pull. Number 2, we have Crow. Crow still remaining at the top, also seeing a little bit of less play in RTA, but not very much. Not very much of a drop off. Still amazing, still highly picked. One of the best knights you can get. So for PvE for new players, he can be your early Wyvern 11 through 13 tank. He can be your raid and hell raid tank as well for PvE. And then of course, all areas of PvP, amazing. Arena, Guild War, offense and defense. And of course, RTA All-Star, still first picked a lot. Just slightly less with all the new knights coming out. His spot can kind of be, other units can sort of fill that role now. But still, if you have him, defense up, amazing S3, one of the most synergistic kits. Is that a word? Synergistic kits available in the game. You will never regret having Crow. I can almost promise you that. So, number 2 on the must pull. Number 3, we have Tamarin. Tama still has to be up here, guys. Purely because of PvE. There's still no other Soul Weaver, even with all the new Soul Weavers added, that has as many skills in one kit. And I hope they don't bring out another Soul Weaver that's as powerful, because it's just too much. She does everything you'll ever need. She's future-proof for all future PvE content. So still has a spot in PvP, but really you're pulling for her PvE and future-proofing potential, because she does everything you could ever need. Strip, cleanse, CR push, crazy heals, and she's a waifu. So still on the must pull. Will still be on the must pull probably in the next one. After that, guys, our 4th and final must pull, Lilias. Lilias kind of like Crow. A lot of new knights coming up, like Special Change Raws. We're getting ML Crow next week. A lot of new knights are popping up. ML Tywin, everyone's using him. FCC has been there. She is still worth pulling for every new player. Now, just like the other 4, you may once you reach end game sort of prefer other knights, but her kit is undeniable. I see a lot of people asking though, is Lilias bad now? Are other knights better? Honestly, no. It's really preference at that level, but she's still top tier for PvP. PvE, she has Holo Trials uses. You can use her in Hell Raid if you want. It's pretty good because she has a full team-wide cleanse, which a lot of other knights don't have. fills that role while also protecting the team. The dual attacks, while not guaranteed, still provides some extra DPS. And of course, like I was mentioning, for Arena, Guild Wars, and RTA, still top tier. Her kit is just very good. You won't regret pulling her. So if you notice other players, top players, you know, not picking her as much, it's just because there's other options. But when you don't have all the knights readily available, Lilias is insanely good. So do not miss out on her. Okay, falling off from the previous list, and some of these were also honorable mentions on the last list, but let's just write them all down. Charles, I think, was the first one that actually got moved down from must pull. Now, I still think new players, if you like him, I still think it's good. It's a good idea to pull him. He's just a strong Earth Bruiser where there's not too many. I'll tell y'all about the other Earth Bruiser that's usually talked about after this. Still very strong, but has fallen off pretty significantly, more so than a lot of these other units in RTA especially, just because of the nature of his RNG with Elbrus. Also on top, speaking of Elbrus, new players will have a little bit of difficulty. If you don't have Elbrus, he definitely goes down a ton of points, but he's not the monster powerhouse he used to be. Still very strong on defense when you take RNG and the defense AI into consideration. But man, he has definitely seen a plummet in play for competitive RTA. So still probably one of the top units just overall for RGB non-limiteds, but no longer must pull at all in my opinion. After that, we have the combo of Bazaar and Tywin. We'll just talk about them together. I had them in the honorable mentions in the last video. They're still very strong, but no longer must pull, honestly, or even close. Tywin especially, more so than Bazaar, because Bazaar still has a crazy kit. Just there's a lot of units to deal with him with the advent of Holiday Euphine and Broman. Bazaar is also seeing much less play, but his kit is still so good. His Soulburn is still so good that he's always going to be a strong pick, just less so and maybe later on in a draft. But Arena, Guild Wars, you'll still see him a lot. He kind of got erased from Arena defense, but still strong. On the other hand, Tywin, I think, is in a very bad spot. Tywin Bazaar, not so strong, and it's going to get continually weaker with the artifacts that remove souls. Tywin's own artifact kind of nerfs him. It's kind of crazy. He was good for PvP and PvE because a lot of people use him as an early tank and for Wyvern and raids. Made him an honorable mention in the last video. Now so, I don't think Tywin is anywhere near. Maybe he's probably middle of the pack now if you still want to run him. Of course, Tywin Bazaar can still do a ton of work, but no longer top dog. Not even close. And that covers the 7 RGB must pulls. Remember, these are non-limiteds. Limited units, guys. It's up to you. Most people recommend that you pull for every limited. Usually they're must pull just because of the limited factor. All right, let's move on to the honorable mentions, guys. I only have one unit here, but I mentioned it when I was talking about Charles, the other very strong Earth Bruiser. And I put her in honorable mention. She's so close to being must pull, but I leave her out only because new players, until they're ready to build her, because she is quite greedy to gear. Not the easiest unit to build up, but top tier nonetheless. We have Alencia, who is just absolutely insane for PvP. Mostly RTA. You will see her in Arena and Guild Wars, but really she shines in RTA and she's so strong there. She's like a must pick if you want to take PvP seriously. That's why she's in honorable mentions. For most new players, she's not going to do too much for you in the beginning until you're ready to gear her. But once you finally get in the groove of running some real-time Arena, you're going to regret not having her. So take a look at, just know for yourself if you're that type of player that eventually will want to do PvP, you're going to want to get her. And I feel like her banner's coming up soon, guys. I have no inside info on this, but looking at the rotation of the banners, I feel like they're going to pump out the Season 2 units. They're about ready to be rerun, so keep your eyes peeled. If you do take PvP seriously at all, I do think she is a must pull for sure, 100%. She's insanely strong. Okay, and last but not least, let's talk about the selective summons. I actually got a few comments on my last video saying Fire Ken was not that good, and I agree. I think the safe pick now has to be Sigret, okay? Sigret for an early player. You got your Wyvern, your future Wyvern waifu. She's going to do all the DPS you ever need, and as well as with all the RBs running around because of his Mystic run a few months back, you have an Extinction unit ready. Keep in mind, just Sigret versus RB alone is going to be pretty rough because RBs will naturally outspeed her. You will need some kind of CR push to make her work in PvP. But having that access to extinction is huge, not just for RB alone. There's a lot of other units where she's great now too. After that, I'm gonna have to say Vildred definitely gets taken a step down. Still very good. Future proof. He's for your account when you get endgame. He will always be a speed imprint if you ever get duped Vildreds. He's a powerhouse in 813. But other than that, as a farmer, we now have access to MLT area. Lena's always been good. He's just not as needed as much as he used to be. Still a strong pick if you like him for the aforementioned reasons. But I do think Sigret takes the top spot now as the Selective Summon All-Star. Alright guys, I think that wraps it about up. If you have any differences and ideas on where units should go, especially with the Selective Summons or the must-pull list, please let me know in the comments below. I love hearing from you guys, and it helps me reevaluate and readjust for the next time we do one of these. But I do like this tier list, so I think I'll do these in the future. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all the support. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Much love, y'all. Peace out, everybody.